Good morning, new day, new vlog. All I've done so far is I woke up, left my Airbnb, and I took the light rail back downtown Minneapolis and went to the downtown Minneapolis Enterprise, grabbed a car for the day. And now I am obviously going to be in the car, but I'm at the Mississippi River right here, downtown Minneapolis, near the Stone Arch Bridge. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. And then once I get back in the car, I'll tell you where I'm going after that. But let's go see the Mississippi River, downtown Minneapolis. So I did intend on doing this on foot. It's right here, downtown Minneapolis. But I just ran out of time, so I was like, I'll go grab the car and then I'll do it. Walking onto the Stone Arch Bridge over the Mississippi River. So here's the Mississippi River. Here's the iconic Stone Arch Bridge, although you can't see the stone arches from on it. So that's how wide the Mississippi is through here. So today what I'm doing is I'm driving 4 hours north of here to the upper/middle part of Minnesota to see the headwaters, the very beginning of the Mississippi River. It's about a 4-hour ride, so it's really not that bad. That's why I rented a car today. And I wanted to come down here in the city and see the river here, and then compare it to how wide it is at the start, which will obviously be much less wide than this. The most iconic river in the nation. This is the same one I fell into in St. Louis about 6 months ago. Look for that vlog if you haven't seen it. So yeah, I'm about to see the start of the most significant river in the free world. This is just a little preview. So it's a little bit later. I'm about 45 minutes or maybe a little more than that outside of Minneapolis, up north of the city on I-94. I just stopped and I had some lunch. Let me show you what I had. I got a Little Caesars pizza. Just found one right off the highway. And I also have been having some orange vanilla Coke, which is, it's kind of cool. I mean, I like all soda. There's really not a soda I won't drink. I love the sugary drinks. But the orange vanilla Coke sponsored the whole March Madness tournament, so that's kind of cool. Seeing all the TV commercials for it during the games leading up to the championship. And Enterprise Rent-A-Car, where I got this car from in downtown Minneapolis, is a tournament sponsor also. And if you ever rent a car from Enterprise and it's the week of the Final Four and you're in the Final Four city, they always have like free drinks for some reason. Last year they had a big Powerade cooler. This year they had a bunch of 12-packs of orange vanilla Coke right on the counter, so I asked the guy if it was free, knowing it was, but I don't know why I asked him. He's like, yeah, take whatever you want. So I took 6 cans. That's like the second or third one, something like that. Anyway, enough about that. Still on the way to Lake Itaska in the north central part of Minnesota, a few hours from Minneapolis, and I have like 2.5 hours to go, something like that. But I gotta say, this is the most frustrating place I have ever driven in. Hands down. Like, I'd rather drive through downtown Boston at rush hour. That would be a more relaxing experience than driving in Minnesota. So, it's not difficult. It's not stressful. Like, it's very easy. But the problem is everybody goes so friggin' slow. I've never been to a place where people drive this slow. Like, in the, I mean, the speed limits aren't even that low. It's like normal. It's 70 miles an hour on the highway. But everybody goes so slow. It's been a 2-lane highway most of the way so far. In the right-hand lane, everybody goes like 5 to 10 miles an hour under the speed limit or slower. And then in the left-hand, fast lane, everybody goes like, I mean, you'll be lucky if they're doing the speed limit, let alone any 5 or 10 over. Like, forget about that. Oh, it's driving me nuts, and there's been enough traffic that, like, it's by no means a traffic jam or anything. It's moving, but it's just moving slow, and there's enough traffic on the 2-lane highway. Just keep zigzagging through cars, and It feels like I'm flying because I'm blowing by everybody, but then I look down at the car and I'm only going 80 and speed limit 70. I mean, really, that's not that bad. That's how fast everyone would be going in most other places. Haven't seen one cop yet, so hopefully they're not writing tickets, because I'm just the fastest car on the road because of how slow everybody else is going. Man, it's frustrating. It's just, I've got to tell you, it's wearing on me. But it's all good. We're going to get there eventually. Let's go. Just realized I hadn't shown you guys what rental car I got this time. This is a 2018 Nissan Sentra with a Missouri license plate from Enterprise, downtown Minneapolis. I'm a Ford guy. They didn't have any Fords. They were kind of picked over, but yeah, the price was okay. And I wanted something good on gas mileage, going 8 hours round trip today. Here's what the scenery looks like so far on I-94 driving through Minnesota. Some trees, some prairies, like prairie land with trees basically. Very typical of the upper Midwest. In case you're wondering, I don't always drive in the slow lane. I just pulled over here because I'm filming right now and it's a little bit safer. So it has been a very long drive, and I am dang tired. Those slow Minnesota drivers made it take longer than it otherwise would have for the first half of the trip. Then for the second half, it wasn't that bad because there was very, very little, if any, traffic on the road. It was a little further of a drive than I thought. It was about 4 hours. Just got to Itasca State Park in, I don't even know the name of the town. Let me look. This is the park map. Itasca State Park, Park Rapids, Michigan. That's where I am right now. $7 entrance fee. And this is the headwaters of the Mississippi River. I'm at the visitor center right now, which I will turn the camera around and show you in just a second. Just went in and talked to, like, I don't think the person in there was a park ranger. They weren't dressed like it. Just the person who takes the money and gives you a map, I will call it. Yeah, it was full price, $7 year round, even though some of the amenities are closed, which I was a little annoyed about. There's a fire tower here that I wanted to hike to. It was about a 1.5 mile hike, and I would have done that, but they told me it wasn't open for the season yet. First state I've been to where fire towers are seasonal. But anyhow, that's not the main reason I'm here, so it's not a deal breaker. I'm here to see the Mississippi River headwaters, which is open 5 miles up the road from the visitor center. Gosh, I'm rambling on here, but it's cold. It was 60, it hit like 65 in Minneapolis yesterday, which was unseasonably warm for this part of the country. But up here, 4 hours north, it's a little bit colder of a climate. And when I started out, like, getting close to this area, the car said it was 38 degrees, and it kept on going down to 35. Now the car says it's 34 degrees. It's only a couple above freezing. Yeah, but it honestly doesn't feel that bad, just coming from New England winter. And maybe it's the fact that tomorrow I'm going to wait and tell you what I'm doing until tomorrow later. I don't want to detract from today. But anyhow, the good thing about that is I can put my Cokes that I showed you earlier in a snowbank to cool off while I'm walking out on these trails, because there is still a good amount of snow here. I didn't want to buy a styrofoam cooler for like 4 cans of soda, but they're warm. So that's going to work out well here. Let me turn the camera around and show you the snow in the visitor center. So I wasn't kidding. There's still snow here. Back home in New England, at least greater Boston, it's all gone for the year. And I can honestly say this is probably the one part of the country that I've been to that's colder than the New England region where I'm from. Sitting in the car. The visitor center is that building up through the woods there. Little parking lot here for the visitor center. There's one other car here, but I think it might be the person who works here. 5 miles up the road. Let's go! This is what the park road looks like. I shouldn't be so surprised that there's still snow in April. I think it's just that back home in New England there's none. And there was none in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, or at least a lot less than this. Like, they had it in spots, but it was like you really had to look for it. Here it's just all over. Back up to 35 degrees according to the car, but who really knows how accurate these car thermometers are. Visitor alert! Have a nice day! I guess there's no alerts today. Alright, so about 4 miles up the road, still a mile or so from the actual headwaters, but I just crossed this little bridge over the Mississippi River, and I wanted to show you how small it is up this way. Here's the bridge. Just drove over it. And let me turn the camera around. I'm blown away by this. I knew it was going to be like this, but still to see such a massive, mighty river that I've seen in so many different states be just this little stream, it's incredible. This is the Mississippi River. The water is so clear. This actually probably is the clearest water I've ever seen. Looks really clean. Up the road a little ways, here's the Headwaters Parking and Visitor Center, and I am literally the only one here, which is awesome. The main visitor center where I checked into the park and talked to the information person is open year round, but I think everything else, including this one, is closed right now. That's okay though, still gonna be a good time. It already is. Like I said earlier, those cans of orange vanilla Coke that I had left, I just put them in this small little snowbank that's left over here. Cool them right off. And here is the closed visitor center. Visitor center that was closed is about 100 yards behind me. I spent a few minutes reading the information panels and signs. This is not the Headwaters yet. There's a little bit more of a walk, but this is too cool to pass up. Stairs down to the river. Little footbridge. And no, I'm not going to fall in this time like I did in St. Louis. Gonna be careful. Solid wood stairs. No mud. Not this time. Go back to the Missouri trip videos if you don't know what I'm talking about. Walking further down the trail to the Headwaters, and I'm standing on some ice. Yeah, this is so cool though. I don't even care that it's cold and with snow and ice still lingering around. This is wicked cool. Sign said it's another 400 feet. I'm literally the only person here, the only car in the parking lot. Nobody in sight. That's how I like it. Have the whole place to myself. I'll show you the trail. So there's Lake Itaska. There's the rocks. Those rocks are where the Mississippi River starts. Just like I said a little bit ago, the water is just so clean and crystal clear. Couple of benches. That on that pole right there, not sure if you can see it, that's a live webcam on the website for the park. They have a live video feed of what's going on here. I actually looked at it the other day while I was still home. Out in the Minnesota wilderness. I just walked over to the other side of this little area where the river starts on this log. It's like a cut in half, like tree log bridge. Yeah, it's narrow. Not that narrow. Here, let me show you. I was just on a gravel path on the way here, and now there's another way back that I noticed. It's like a really cool boardwalk right next to the Mississippi River. Feels strange to call this the Mississippi River because it's so small, but it is. That's the Mississippi River. Same one that's gigantic in St. Louis and Memphis and Quad Cities and just so many other places. It would be fun to go down this whole thing in a raft. All the way from here at the Headwaters in Minnesota, way down to the bottom in Louisiana where it goes to the Gulf. 2,500 miles in an inflatable raft. That would get 1 million views. Back in the car, really fun time seeing the Mississippi River headwaters here in northern Minnesota. Next thing I'm doing, it's about a 40-minute ride from here. I'm going to Bemidji, Minnesota, which is like the closest populated, decently populated place to here. Gonna go check that out, probably get something to eat. So, 40-minute ride, I'll talk to you then. Greetings from Bemidji, Minnesota, in the north central part of the state. It is up there. Just drove through downtown Bemidji. Small, populated but small. It's yeah, gosh, it just feels like a hockey town. Like there's a hockey equipment store, and it just has that feel to it. I think there's like Bemidji State. I think there's a decent hockey team around here for NCAA hockey. Just stopped into Walmart because I needed to use the bathroom after driving for a while. And lots of pickups in the parking lot, old beat up cars covered in mud. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not making fun of Bemidji. I actually like that. Just some real down-home Americans up in these parts. But man, it's cold. It's down to 32 degrees right now, so it's literally freezing. So, yeah. So, just sitting here in the car. I'm actually at the Paul Bunyan statue here in Bemidji, Minnesota. So I'm going to get out, take some pictures, and I'll be right back. Paul Bunyan and his blue ox. I'll explain the story of him when I get back in the car in a minute. Never know what you're gonna find. These trips always end up being awesome. Paul Bunyan is a fictional character from American folklore, and he's a giant, like, superhuman lumberjack, always accompanied by Babe, his blue ox. And I think they're cool. You know, a lot of places claim them. There's really, like, disputed over where Paul Bunyan actually originated and where his, fictional hometown actually was, but a lot of places claim it. Here in Bemidji being one of them. Bangor, Maine is another place. I've actually seen the Paul Bunyan statue there too. Several other places in Minnesota, several places in Wisconsin, and several places in Michigan all claim to be the home of Paul Bunyan. So who knows? I mean, he was a fictional character, so I guess they could all be right. I don't know. But anyway, he's a giant fictional lumberjack, to make a long story short. So I'm not real sure what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the night. It's getting later. I don't even know what time it is. I think it's around 8, something like that. Sun's just going down. It feels like it's so much earlier. It feels like it could be like 5 o'clock. But I think it's around 8, because it's just still light out almost. It's almost dark, but it's still light. Damn it, I'm rambling. I'll just shut up and tell you that I don't know what I'm doing for the rest of the night. Gonna head back towards Minneapolis because I have a 7 a.m. flight tomorrow. I don't want to tell you what I'm doing yet. I don't want to detract from this Minnesota trip, so I'm gonna wait till the very end of this video to tell you about what's happening next. Yeah, I'll check in from somewhere. I'll show you what I get to eat tonight. Not sure what that's going to be just yet. Yeah. Before it gets too dark, let me just show you downtown Bemidji. And then at the end of the street, there's Paul Bunyan again, and Babe the Blue Ox. And I think that's Lake Bemidji out behind them. Just got some gas at Holiday, which is a gas station convenience store chain in Minnesota. The most predominant one, I would say. I've seen a lot of them. And this is the biggest gas station I've ever been to in my life. There are 24 pumps. 4 islands, 3 pumps each. Double-sided. Incredible. So as I was going in to use the restroom and pay for some gas on pump 23... yeah, there are still some of us out there who use cash. I noticed they had 2 Bemidji State hockey jerseys in frames hanging on the wall inside the gas station. So what did I say about this being a hockey town? So I'm hitting the road. I'm headed back to the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Right now I put St. Cloud into the GPS, which is a fairly populated place, bigger than Bemidji. And it's about, roughly speaking, it's like 45 minutes, probably an hour outside of Minneapolis. So a lot closer to the city than I am now. So I put that in there because I figured I could stop in St. Cloud, get something to eat, because I'm just not hungry yet from that Little Caesars pizza I had earlier today, because I ate the whole thing, by the way. So about a 2 hour and 35 minute ride down to St. Cloud. I'll talk to you from there. Like 3 minutes have passed since the last clip. I'm still in Bemidji. And I just happened to be driving by this, so I pulled in, and I know it's dark, but I wanted to show you the hockey arena for Bemidji State. What did I say about this being a hockey town? I know it's dark. This camera that I'm using has it has better low light for pictures than video, so let me take a couple of pictures and I'll throw them in right here. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. the next morning. I am back downtown Minneapolis. I just pulled into the parking garage where the Enterprise is located to return this car. Yeah, they're obviously not open yet, but I set this up when I picked up the car that I could just come into the garage, drop the car. And that's what I just did. And I was greeted by a pretty funny sight upon entering the parking garage and going around the first corner off the street. There was a guy just hanging out in here urinating against the wall. And no, I wasn't annoyed. I thought it was funny. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So now the Minneapolis trip is over. I'm dropping this car here. I'm gonna walk a few blocks to the light rail, take that to the Minneapolis St. Paul airport. And then I am not flying home. Instead, I'm flying to Orlando, Florida today. It's been a great 3 days in Minneapolis, and I enjoyed it so much and had a real, thorough, in-depth experience in Minnesota. But it is just, it's too cold to spend the whole week here. I want to go somewhere warm, so that's what I'm about to do. Flying Spirit Airlines nonstop MSP to MCO Orlando, and when we get to Orlando, that will be a separate video, and I will explain that when the time comes. That pickup truck just pulled in back there. His antenna is just bumping on the ceilings. He barely fits the height clearance. Oh, I know the struggle. I drive an F-150 back home. But anyway, I'm going to head to the airport, jump on that nonstop Spirit Airlines flight to Orlando, and I'll talk to you from there in a separate video. Walking to the train downtown Minneapolis. Only a couple of minutes have passed since the last clip. 30 degrees and very windy. I'm freezing my ass off. That's why I'm going where I'm going today.